hope that as you listen to her, that you will appreciate what it takes to make yourself vulnerable and to share your story with people that you see around church, but don't know. But that's where that's where our prayer as pastors, as clergy, are going, that we would all move beyond our hesitation, that we would take off our masks, that we would be real with one another and make ourselves vulnerable and share how God is working in us, because in the end, that's all that really matters, right? Amen. So, okay, I'm going to turn it over to Monica, and I'll come back up after she gets through, okay? It's yours, girl.
I don't know. Let's see. Okay. Is this good? Okay. Let me know if my hair gets in the way or something.
Hi, Monica.
Hi, everybody. So this is my story, and I had the thought to, for whatever reason, I visualized puzzle pieces. And I was very glad that Sarah asked if I needed anything, because I never thought about doing a PowerPoint. And I'm a former teacher, so this was really easy for me. And I like to have a theme when I present anything. So I knew that it was going to be about puzzle pieces, because that's kind of how I feel like my walk has been. So I'll get going. My name is Monica O'Donnell, and I am the wife of Brian, daughter-in-law of Chuck and Andy O'Donnell. I will not embarrass you, I promise. Mother of Ella, she'll be 14 on Monday, and Ava Lee, who's 10. I was born and raised in Dallas. I met Brian while I was at Texas Tech. We were 19 years old. We lived in Lubbock, Duluth, Minnesota, and then we lived in Arlington for 15 years. We moved here, and Lord willing, hopefully this will be our forever home. We moved here 4 years ago. So I was a Creaster, and that just means you attended church on Christmas and Easter. That was it. And thank goodness I was saved at Young Life Camp in 1992. So if you think about that, I was born in 77, and then a lot of time goes by, and finally get to know Jesus in 92. So I was grateful for that. I've always been fascinated and mesmerized and awed by God's mysterious ways. How he designs our paths and how he puts our puzzle pieces together for all of us, at the same time, how he does that just boggles my mind. How he has us meet and experience people and experience situations that are it's in his perfect timing. So, let me see. Yes. Well, we can leave it on that. Well, no, okay, it doesn't matter. So before we moved to Kerrville, I wanted the small town feel, but not the small town church. I wanted my mega metropolis church with 1 million members and young people and families and children and a youth department comparable to the one in Arlington or even better. 4 years ago, close-minded Monica said to Becky McFadden, our realtor, and I said it to Chuck and Andy, my in-laws, quote, I just can't go to KFUMC because, I'm sorry, the congregation is just too old and the youth department is too small. Okay, I'm so sorry. I'm extremely mortified that I said that, and I'm admitting it to you now. But I can tell you, if anyone were to say that to me now, I would punch them in the face. Because no one messes with this church, and no one messes with you guys, and no one's going to make ignorant remarks about God's children. So we went house shopping. We fell in love with one house. We stepped foot into it, and my very indecisive, can never make a decision husband said, this is it. This is the one. And so after taking 1 million pictures with my camera, We were told that the house already had an offer, which we couldn't beat, and we went back to Jack Drive with Chuck and Andy. I deleted every single picture from my camera, and looking at the pictures, it was just too depressing. So the next Sunday at KFUMC, the church that I still was not super pumped about, I see Judy Main in the elevator. And the doors were closing, and she didn't really know me, but I knew the house belonged to the Mains. And I said as fast as I could before the doors could close, "Hey, I really like your house, and we wanted to put in an offer, but..." And she went like this. And she stopped the doors from closing, and she, stepped out of the elevator, and we talked for a moment. And I told her, how much we loved her home, and she said, I really wish it was your family that was buying our home. And of course I agreed with that. But not soon after that, we got a call from our realtor and she let us know that the house is ours if we want to put in an offer, because the other couple backed out. So maybe it was that we were moving into, the KFUMC's pastor's house that began to kind of soften my feelings, my hard feelings about this church. We started seeing and meeting more people. We liked the idea of going to a church that we were married in, that Brian grew up in, that he was baptized in. Right? He was baptized here? Okay, awesome. I wasn't 100% about joining, but God was telling me to do so, and I needed to be obedient. So that decision was made for our family. We decided to transfer our membership when the new pledge campaign started at KFUMC and when our commitment ended in Arlington. The week after we joined, Bob announced that we were getting a new pastor, and he mentioned Twitter. And in the pew, before the service was over, I had already Googled Ryan Barnett and read his Twitter feed, and I know that is completely inappropriate, and I would never do that to David, just so y'all know. I was just so excited because, to have a pastor literally my age, I was just super pumped about that. And Ryan and Kim, they became some of our closest friends. In Kerrville, we'd go on double dates. We never wanted to miss a Sunday. And because we were very much involved in this church and our relationships were growing with Jesus and the people in this church, I felt called to attend the Walk to Emmaus. Now, this whole Emmaus thing, it's quite amazing to me because I've been a member of the Methodist Church since 2001. And I remember maybe 3 times in 15 years while I was in Arlington, someone mentioning something about the Walk to Emmaus. But I had no idea what they were talking about, and I wasn't interested because, I was just too busy. Also, Chuck and Andy, they never asked me to go on a walk. They knew that it had to be on my time. Well, in 2016, I told Chuck very nonchalantly as I plopped in the pew next to him before church and said, "Hey, I'm going on the Emmaus walk." And I remember he gave me this, his eyes got big and he looked at me like, "Oh, okay, great. You have a sponsor?" And I told him very matter-of-factly that I didn't need a sponsor. And he let me know that he'd be happy to be my sponsor if I needed one. And I told him, "Okay, thank you, but I think I'm going to be fine." So, I soon realized that there is a signature line for sponsor on the form. So I let Chuck know that I would love for you to be my sponsor. So my walk was planned, it was on the calendar, and my vacation time was approved for Thursday and Friday of the walk. About 2 weeks before the walk, I received a call from my dad that he was going to have a serious surgery at the VA hospital in Dallas on the Friday of my Emmaus walk. And it starts on Thursday. I was quiet for a moment because I remember my friend Olga Justice. She told me that a couple of weeks before the walk, Satan was going to try to keep me from going on my walk. And I knew without a doubt that my walk was absolutely on my path and it was from God. I knew 100% He wanted me to go on this walk. So to say that I was thrown for a loop by this situation with my dad was an understatement. After my pause on the phone with my dad, I said, "Well, Dad, this is so weird because I know, without a doubt, I'm supposed to be on this walk, which makes me think you're going to be just 100% okay, and I could be with you in spirit, and there wouldn't be a better place for me to be while you're in surgery than with like my spiritual leaders. He wasn't really happy about that, and he was disappointed. He really wanted me to be there, and I just told him that I would be in prayer about it. And I told him that I really had a tough time believing that God wanted me to be on this walk, and he was going to have my dad die too, like at the same time. I just didn't think that was possible. So I asked him a long shot question, and I said, Dad, is there any way you can get your surgery rescheduled for a different day? And he goes, Monica, this is the VA. You don't get to choose your day or time. You get what you get, and it takes a long time to even get that. So I prayed and I prayed and I prayed for a few days, and it was probably about 10 days from my walk and from my dad's surgery. And he calls me, I pick up, and he said, well, you won't believe this, but the doctor's office at the VA called me, and they asked if I could reschedule for Thursday morning at 6 a.m. Thank you, Jesus. Dad, yes, I will be there. So the week of my walk, I leave after Wednesday night jam, and I drive to my mom's house in Arlington. I get there about midnight. I leave her house at 5 a.m. so I can be at the VA before 6 a.m. And you know how it is. It doesn't matter what time you're told for your surgery. Things happen. You can get delayed for several hours. And I'd already done the math. I literally needed to leave by 10 a.m. If I was going to make it back to Kerrville to have dinner with my sponsor, Chuck, before the walk. So as my dad was going back, I told him that I knew he was going to be okay, and the surgery would go awesome. And without sounding like I wanted the surgeon to rush, I asked, hey, do you think that my dad might be back in recovery by 10 a.m.? He did say that my dad would be finished about then. So I told my dad that only if the surgery was successful and only if I've spoken with the surgeon that I might sneak out and call him when he woke up so I could make it to Kerrville. And God's the bomb. He did it. Of course he did, because God does that. My dad's surgery was successful. I was able to speak to the surgeon and see my dad and be on the road at 10 a.m. So I guess I got one slide mixed up. So I'll come back to that. Can you go to the one that's my daddy? Thank you. So that was that morning. Thumbs up. I knew I needed to be there, and you see, just God works it out. He worked out the timing perfectly. So, okay. Now you can go to the one before. This testimony is sponsored by the Hill Country Emmaus community. Not really. It just so happens that after my Emmaus walk, that's when my life changed. And here's a copy of my prayer journal before the Emmaus walk. There it is, yeah. And I chose what I wanted to put in here, but this is what I reviewed before tonight of my time with God. And so that's why I'm mentioning the walk to Emmaus. And if you can go back to the one that it was on forever, really quickly, that one. Yeah, just background, babe Christian, I was lost. Then for a long time, it was ping pong faith. And from 2016 in October to now, that's the good stuff. That's my time that I'm sharing with you, where I really felt close to Jesus. I mean, this is where it gets real. Okay. Then, again, my theme was our puzzle pieces are all over the place, and only in His timing are they perfectly put together. And that was the next one, which again amazes me. All of you have puzzle pieces. And he's at this right now. He's moving them, and who knows what paths they're going to cross with, and which two are going to connect. And it just blows my mind. All right. So